I don't see any benefit to this drug. And I will say, and I can't take credit for this because it's Sammy, who's one of the co-founders of Betches, obviously Betches, the very famous brand, did a video last week and I loved it. And she said, I see an awful lot of people talking about how much they love their Ozempic and Wegovy and Mounjaro, but I don't see their workout videos. I don't see them talking about how they've addressed their emotional eating problems. I don't see them talking about how they've changed their diet. And I'm like, yeah, because people want a quick fix. Most people, there are exceptions. Some people should be on Ozempic, clearly. Diabetics, insulin issues, but even that, 70% of people who are on Ozempic have to stop the drug within 2 years. The side effects are so gnarly, stops working, causes other problems. I could argue this till I'm blue in the face because the majority of people, probably 70% of people who are overweight are emotional eaters. Much like you use alcohol as a coping mechanism, people use food. And unlike drugs and alcohol, we have to eat. You don't need to do heroin. You don't need to drink alcohol. You have to eat to live. And so I just, I think the consequences of it are going to be very bad. I do. Name a drug. You're all of you guys listening to this, your parents. How many of us have parents that are on drugs for cancer and they have other side effects? All these drugs have side effects. Everything you take, they work great for a while. My mom, breast cancer survivor, oh my God, what is it? Y'all know. I don't know. I want to say it's tamoxifen, but I don't know if that's correct or like a vaccine. Anyway, she did it for 7 years and she got a blood clot, which was one of the side effects. I mean, we know, so many people like this. There are going to be huge consequences for taking Ozempic. To what? Be thin? To still have, what changes when you're thin? The only thing that changes is people give you a ton of compliments at first, and people that would never date you when you were 45 pounds heavier start to date you. And then guess what? The minute you gain the weight back, they're going to be long gone. Unless you change your emotional, you deal with the trauma of why we eat, you deal with the emotions of why we eat. And most people eat because they're masking childhood trauma, adult trauma. They're in a marriage that they hate. They're at a job that they hate. And to change those things can be really hard. I'm not saying it's easy. It's really fucking hard. But the alternative is then when you really look at your life and you realize that you only need to eat when you're hungry and not to cope with the stress, the best part is you can be free of like food addiction the rest of your life. I told you I started my first diet when I was 12 years old until I was 28. Gained and lost 150 pounds in that time. Did every diet under the sun. If I'd been old enough to take fen-phen, which was the hot diet drug in the 90s, I would have. But I was like 15 at the time or 16. I mean, I just think people, it's such a quick fix for something that's it's so much deeper than that, And there's always a saying in mindful eating therapy, the bigger the person, the bigger the trauma. And some people really do need gastric. They do need Ozempic. But most people I see and I know taking Ozempic are not even near that category. So anyhow, I'll do a whole nother, I guess I just did a podcast on it. So there you go. If you have other advice questions, all the places to find me. Okay. So I told you about our Reddit. Definitely subscribe. Also, I want to thank some of our sponsors. You guys, Riff Raff Baby, real quick. They have the best sleep toy. Oh my gosh, they are known for their loveys and sleep toys. If you're having a baby, if you know somebody that's having a bebe, you need to go to riffraffbaby.com. Use code TSFS for 15% off. Their sleep toy lovey is a game changer for your child to sleep through the night. It has a noise machine built in. It's adorable. Your child can carry it too. And it clips to the crib if you are concerned and you don't want anything in the crib if they're under the age of 1. The other sponsor I have to thank is Dr. Will Neem at Horizon Fibroids, horizonfibroids.com. 80% of women will have a fibroid by the age of 50. And the thing with that is lots of times your OBGYN tells you the only option is a hysterectomy. Oy vey. Don't have a hysterectomy until you've talked to Dr. Will Neem, horizonfibroids.com. He does take almost all insurance, and he will meet with you regardless of where you are in the country and help you find a doctor who does uterine fibroid embolization. Also, if you'd like to advertise your fantastic business, could be here on the Sarah Fraser Show, reach hundreds of thousands of listeners every single month. I love you guys so much. You guys have made this show where it is as a top trending podcast in the world in TV and film category. If you would like to hear your brand and reach, I have 80% women that listen to me between the ages of 25 and 45. Email thesarahfrasershow@gmail.com. Have your brand on. Heck, you could have your own sponsored podcast episode as well. Love you guys. Okay. The other thing I want to get into is the Donna Summer documentary on HBO Max. Last Dance Romance. Okay, I'm not even gonna, that's like so insulting to this woman. Anyway, if you haven't watched it, it is so good. Donna Summer was a legendary disco singer, Last Dance, Love to Love You, Baby. The documentary, by the way, is called Love to Love You. Donna Summer, Love to Love You. She just an incredible documentary. It's like 2 hours long. I was sucked in from the beginning to the end. She just was so beautiful. And the voice, she gave me like, she just is a voice that comes along like once in a lifetime. And her story, of course, is one of just unbelievable triumph and tragedy. Obviously, spoiler alerts ahead. Kind of the 5 biggest things that you learn in the Donna Summer documentary is, number one, she was like one of the only Black women at the time in the 70s, writing her own music, singing her own music. She wrote these famous songs, these famous disco songs. Unbelievable. Number 2, she goes to Germany. That's where she launched her career, singing like on TV shows and jingles. And, she was a woman of color. Nobody thought she would make it. Her shot of making it was 1 to 1 million. She heard herself, I think, or saw herself back on a TV station, and she saw somebody reacting to her, and she just knew she was going to be famous. It was unbelievable. Number 3, she does reveal that she was molested by it's not a priest, but her pastor when she was in high school. And that sets off a lot of trauma, of course, that she has to deal with for the rest of her life in tumultuous relationships. It's very hard to get close to men for her. And even her husband, when she died, and she died so young, like early 60s from lung cancer. She really didn't even fall in love with him until the end of her life because she had this traumatic experience. The 4th thing was, I didn't even realize this, but she was quoted years ago as she became very religious. Her parents, she was raised with religion, then sort of didn't care, and then became very religious as she got older, and said the quote that marriage is between Adam and Eve and not Adam and Steve. And so her family basically said she did say it, and, then regretted it the rest of her life. And it was just so interesting. I had never heard that. I never heard that she had conflict in her life as kind of being this gay icon. And then, I don't think she didn't like it, but I don't think she ever really embraced it. It's so fascinating, I think. And I'll tell you, because that leads me to the 5th point. But the other thing was, she had allegedly said, and her family denies that she ever said this, she also said that AIDS, allegedly said that AIDS was a punishment for gay people, basically. Now, her family, like I said, completely denies that in the documentary. She even gave a press conference, I think in the 80s or maybe early 90s, denying that she ever said that. She was very emotional in the press conference. But the 5th thing was, it's so interesting how people become, like, some people become famous. They know that they're going to become famous, and they become exactly famous for what they want. And then other people, their fame takes on a whole different thing. Donna never, she never wanted to be this disco icon that she became. She never did. It was like this conflict. And as she got older, she would do these Donna Summer concerts, and she wanted to sing religious songs. And of course, everybody was there. They wanted to get down. They wanted to do their cocaine, honey, and listen to Love to Love You, Baby. They did not want to hear her. They wanted sex. Because, her songs were so sexy. Like she would just go on, and the beat. Oh my God. I know all of you have heard of Donna Summer, but go and listen to an album. Oh my God. And her album covers, like, I'm obsessed with her. She was just so beautiful. The hair, the makeup. Iconic. But it's so interesting to me because she just had this life of struggle where she became so rich off these songs, but never really loved it. And then, the relationship with her children, her children ended up fulfilling her life so much more as she got older. But her first daughter was raised for a while by her parents. And it's really great. And I think it shows too, she sued her record label because she was getting screwed in a time when, artists didn't do that, let alone artists of color. And she did it and she fucking won. She just was so beyond talented. And I think it's such a beautiful documentary. Unlike my Anna Nicole Smith documentary, which I'm going to do a whole podcast on because I am also obsessed with Anna Nicole Smith. Oh my God. She was gorgeous. And you know what the difference is between the Anna Nicole Smith doc? So Donna Summer is on Netflix. Donna Summer is on HBO Max. Anna Nicole is on Netflix. The other one that's really good is Air, which is about Michael Jordan and his parents getting this Air Jordan sneaker deal. And by the way, I mean, I'm rocking my J's. Better believe it. Rocking my J's. They didn't steal those. Give it a minute though. Anyway, those are the three best things I'm watching on TV right now. I'm obsessed. Aside from, I was in the Randall scandal of Randall Emmett, Lala Kent's ex-husband, for a hot second at the end. You can fast forward to the last 3 minutes. You'll see me. Those are the best three things on TV. But the Donna Summer doc was done with so much love, and the Anna Nicole, I need like 2 hours to get into it. But it was not done with love. Wasn't that great, honestly, because it doesn't really have anybody in her life that was actually really close to her, aside from a stripper that she knew for a long time, and then also supposedly had a lesbian relationship with, because she was allegedly bisexual. That woman's like the only real person that was close to her. But I'll get into that one later. Okay. Love you all. Thank you so much for listening. I love the comments about, whether we do advice and more stuff about Schman. So keep it coming. If you have any questions or topics you want me to cover, you can DM me at the Sarah Fraser Show on IG. Hit up my Reddit page as well and leave a comment there. Bye, everybody.